But what it is in the Western civilization, they teach you the observing. So a lot of times when it comes to the way we look at things, they'll give you the equation first, other than the right brain. And they give you the right brain second. So the equation is the left brain. You see what I'm saying? The observing is the right brain. You see, is the right brain. So that's how that is. Most artists are right brain.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like take for instance,
you see left-handers as well, isn't it?
Yeah, left-handers. I'm a lefty.
Yeah. So you use more of your right brain.
Exactly. I'm a lefty. Obama's a lefty. Okay. And stuff like that. Jimi Hendrix was a lefty.
Yeah.
You see, and so I learned how to cook about 14 years ago. Why? Because I was a vegetarian. And I went on a mission to make that food taste awesome. So I had to learn how to cook real good, and I get it all out of here. And so when I got back, when I left the vegetarianism, my food still remained top notch, but I cooked from the taste buds.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And I cook from the spirit. I just know what to do. I just know what to do. And so what it was is we had this Indian thing for a while. We was going out to Indian restaurants. And so I started buying all the curries and the different things like that and the masalas. And we stopped going to Indian restaurants because my Indian food started tasting better than the ones that they was cooking.
Yeah.
And so what happened is I can go into a restaurant and taste the food one time and go back and
make it better than theirs.
Yeah. Well, I gotta get this one. This is, that's the song. That's on that Crash Landing album. He's talking about the UFOs and stuff on that Jimi Hendrix. The second song, he said the UFOs come and they look down and they say, man, them people sure all uptight. You see, in that one,
Excuse me. You hear about the term grassmatics?
Huh?
Grassmatics.
Grassmatics?
Yeah. But the guy would is maths. So it teaches maths from a chemistry.
Okay.
Where? Okay. It teaches that we are the teachers in the Western world. Right. It's against our thinking.
Yeah, I know right now I would excel more academically had I been taught from another system than the Western system. You see, than the Western. And they got a prophecy. They got a prophecy in the Hermetic text where they talk about this ancient knowledge and the way of learning. They said in the future there will be a people that will destroy it, and basically they would distort the information and the knowledge, and and teach you from a way to shut you down, basically. So this in the text that that the Western education would be a method to shut down. You see what I'm saying? The melanin people, and it's in the Hermetic text. As a matter of fact, I brought the book with me that Hermetical by Peter Gandy and Timothy Freakish right in there. They was going to take the philosophy and change it around. You see what I'm saying? That it wouldn't even benefit the indigenous people. It's basically a tool for commerce. You see what I'm saying? Commerce, a tool for capitalism.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So yeah.
What about the name of the grassmatics?
You can turn that down, I guess.
The Muslim guy. Yeah, what's the name again?
Dr. Yates.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
DVD is excellent.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, in my right, like 5. How do you do it again? Like in right number 5, then you put 2, 4, and 8. And they say if you split 2 and put 1, split 4 and put 2, and split 8 and put 4, then add a 0, and that is the answer to the maths.
Mm-hmm.
You remember? Mm-hmm. You remember? So you show it is from a chemical way. If you go to long division, it's too long.
It's long.
It's long. So you say half of 2 or 1, half of 4 is 2, half of 8 is 4, and add a 0, and that's the number.
Right.
You understand?
That's
the answer to the maths.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's a different way of easy maths. I'm not sure that is the right way of teaching the children them. That's a mind thing.
There's a whole spiritual way of doing things. I was telling her, I told her this story on the plane. It's funny as shit. And I just remembered it last night because it had something to do with sleeping. We couldn't get no sleep.
Oh.
I got an older brother. Well, he's a year older than me. So all of our friends, even though I got a brother a year younger than me and a brother a year older than me, so all our friends, they kind of in the same age range because we only like 3 years apart. 1, 2, stair steps. So I got a friend. My friend Ollie had a friend named Greg Smith. And so the brother graduated high school. He had a scholarship for basketball. They took his scholarship over the summer. So he went to college right up the street in the neighborhood of Francis Marion. And the next year he joined the Army and went and bought him a I think it was a Buick Regal. This is like 1978, about 30 years ago. 78, 79. So he decided he was going to drive from South Carolina to D.C. because his mother lived in Washington, D.C. And he was driving. And he said he remembered it was a benchmark, a place where he remembered that he started off from at a certain point. I think it was like right at the line of North Carolina, where North Carolina and South Carolina meet, a place called Dillon. Okay. And so he was getting ready. So he crossed over into North Carolina, and nigga went to sleep at the wheel and drove for 3 hours sleep. Knocked the fuck out. Snowing 3 hours.
The car didn't crash or anything?
The car didn't crash or anything. He drove for 3 hours and he woke up 3 hours later at some small town at a red light and a cop was like, brother, you all right? And it was 3 hours later. Now how did that happen? This nigga drove 3 hours sleep, dead sleep.
Spirit must have gone.
Now what had happened was, and I figured it out because we remember this and we used to laugh about this shit. And I remember this. So what happened was, we used to laugh about this. And so last night the Spirit came and told me how he was able to do it. Now when he was a child, they call it born with a veil or whatever, whatever. Which is just a psychic term, whatever. He was a child. He used to have this man, a tall, dark-skinned man, used to run him. He used to always chase him, and he would be running in the neighborhood. He was a little boy just running, and this tall, dark-skinned man used to chase him. And his grandmother figured out that it was her ex-husband that Greg didn't know, and it was his mother's father. And so she asked him and prayed to leave this boy alone. I believe when he fell asleep at the wheel in North Carolina, at the south of North Carolina, I think the grandfather who used to chase him came in the car and drove the car for his ass. For 3 hours until this nigga woke up. Well, he didn't even wake up. The police woke his ass up and he was at a red light. Some amazing shit. I think that grandfather, he used to terrorize him. He was a little boy, came and got in the car and drove him. Same thing happened with Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder got in a wreck in North Carolina, was dying. And some entities came in the car, lifted him up, operated on him and all this shit. Yeah, in North Carolina. You see.
Is that Stevie Wonder?
Yeah.
He's been to Mali, isn't it?
Yeah, not only there's been the Mali with the Dogon, there's a cave over there, and he could go every year. When he go in that cave, he could see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he could see. You see. But now North Carolina is the same place the guy who invented blood transfusion, Charles Drew, was in North Carolina, got in a car wreck, needed blood, and couldn't go to the White Hospital and died. And he was the man that invented the blood transfusion and blood plasma. So this is years later what happened with Stevie Wonder. And they was like, no, and this was before he did the inner visions and that songs in the kill light. This is when he was getting ready to jump into the major genius superstar. And so the spirit was like, nah, we can't have that. You see what I'm saying? So that whole thing went down. That thing went down. Yeah, but I was telling her this story because it just came up. You know, I was telling her this story last night about Greg Smith. That nigga drove for 3 hours sleep.
You see what you're saying there? What you're saying is perfect, right? Because you see, in my community, you see child, like a little child missing for like a week, and the child just show up back in her yard, and he said, "Where were you?" And she said, "I went out with this lady and her husband, and I went far up in the jungle, like up in the forest, and spent some time with them. They cook for me and do everything for me."
You know, baby.
Yeah, like a little girl, like a little boy. And they say, tell me how these people look. And she said, they look like way. And they say, you know, my great grandmother that. So fascinating how these like your ancestors come. Take with their great
Well, she got a story.
Yeah.
A Halloween story. Tell about that Halloween story.
Take them and bring them go far up in that forest.
Yeah.
And cook and do everything and take you right.
Dang.
And they said, you know, this girl she named Rose. And Rose, I tell her grandmother, oh, the people them look. And our grandmother said, you know, it's my great grandmother. And she and her husband, they come and take you and care of far up in that forest and take care of you and bring you back. So how you know about 5 generations can tell you how, directly how, you know? Yeah man, you know, Jamaica some deep stuff happening.
Yeah. When I was young, I was living in South London, and a black man came to the school. He called me to the gate, and he took me away. It wasn't for days or anything, but when he took me away, he took me, and I can't remember what he said, but he was mentioning the sun and everything. And then he left me there. So then there was all police looking for me, and then they came and picked me up, took me home. I got in trouble obviously for why you going out with a stranger. But on the Millennium, I was walking along Tottenham High Road. I saw the same man. He looked the same age, and he gave me another message just to be careful of friends.
This is the millennium.
Yeah, bang on the Millennium.
So you know that means you know that was one of your spirits. Probably what they call a guardian angel, holy guardian angel. And stuff, yeah. It's interesting here. This brother right here, I'm looking. If this brother cut his hair off, he would look exactly like Khalid Muhammad. This brother looks just like him. Khalid Muhammad looks identical to Khalid Muhammad.
I told him he looks just like my brother Albie.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sitting here.
They say that, you know, we all related some kind of way.
We are.
But even in the spirit realm.
Yeah,
You see what I'm saying? Tell her the story about
the Halloween.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's interesting because I went to a party. This is a Halloween party. Everybody's, you know, I call them adult parties. You know, everybody dresses up in their costumes. This was a few years back. And I would say the house is pretty big. It's about 100 people in the house, you know, dancing, party, having a good time. And so, for some reason, I was with my godbrother, for some reason we decided, we were like, let's go to the car. I don't know, we needed something or we had to go get something for him in the car. So, okay, now, the car is parked right out front. You know, there's no way that we could miss about, let's say, about 100 people there, let's say at least 70 people that would have to come out the front door, get in their cars would be missing. Okay. So we went to the car, came back in, and all of a sudden we went, where did all the people go? You know, I mean, really, if 100 people are in a house, there's no way we're right out front getting something. I mean, he may have went to get some more beer or whatever. Where did these 70 people disappear to that we didn't see? Now, you know, we weren't drinking, we weren't, you know what I'm saying? We could put it off on something like that, but it wasn't anything like that. So we go back in, and for a minute, we just looking around going, we didn't want want to say anything to each other because we were like, maybe we just, miscounted. Maybe it wasn't 100 people. We were like, no. There was 100 people in here. Everybody was jamming. It was one of those, the house music was going. It was high energy. I mean, good time. And like I said, okay, so I said, wait a minute, hold up. Something is happening here. But on Halloween, that's when the spirit worlds open up. Yeah. So obviously, when we went out for that split second, like maybe 5 minutes to the car, everybody disappeared. They went back to their realm.
Yeah. So that was part of
So we were partying with
a whole bunch of spirits.
And you talk about a good time. I have never partied like that in my life. We were having such a wonderful time. Because we were wanting to go back in there just to keep jamming with them. And believe me, the costumes were just otherworldly. Because we kept saying, we were like, wait a minute, that looks exactly like a real Egyptian costume. These things were just too perfect. People do go out their way for Halloween, but this was just over the top. So we were going back in to just enjoy it, and it was after 12, and I guess the time limit was up, so they had to go back into the realm. So, and it was weird because they had this house decorated over the top with, they had, they had the plots in the back with the stones and everything with names on it. It was just too much, So I just said, well, look, nobody believed us, it was just he and I. Nobody believed us. We told other people about it. We were like, forget it. They're not going to understand. It was a spirit. Yeah, it was the spirits. So these things happen. I did get a chance to party with the spirit realm, and it's great. So just look forward to that when it's time. Our time, but we do it now too. But still, when it's time, we're going to have a good time when we return. So that was interesting.
Interesting. So Bob, we have to say about 2012.
If you look on that date, a lot of people are going to be disappointed. Just like the Y2K thing you had.
Yeah.
You see, the spirit world or the universe or what have you, they don't go on dates. The dates are set for man to try to calculate his time and do his business. So even when the Mayans was doing it, they was estimating a cycle. We are in the season in the cycle now. So what we're going through is the same 2012, but people are looking at that date. Before in the 90s, it was all about the millennium. Then the millennium got here, then it became 2012. You see what I'm saying? That's that guy Eckhart Tolle's book, the power of now or something. You got the focus of the now. So what happened? I used to say this a lot in the 90s. If somebody take you and they say, well, 10 years down the road you're going to be doing this, and you start focusing on that 10 years, you have eliminated the line between a whole form of 10 years you've eliminated because you're looking for that date. And I think there's and because it became such a phenomenon lately that it's a distraction. There's a 2012 cycle and season. There's a guy who got a book out, but he got a DVD out. It's called The Secrets of Alchemy by Jay Weidner. And he said that in that DVD. It's a season. Same thing. I learned the hard way in the 90s. When you get to those particular dates, you be disappointed. But what you don't realize, those dates, they were saying, no, the stuff was happening the whole time. You just eliminated from your whole system because you're looking at a date and the stuff is unfolding. That's what the revelation is the revealing. You see what I'm saying? So I think, a lot of people are looking at that 2012, so a lot of people looking at that, and it's a season. 2012 is a season. All right, brother. 2012 is a season. You see, and we are in that season now. We've been in that season. So 2012 could have actually been 2000. When you look at most calendars have run out, the Dogon, most ancient calendars have been gone for the last 14, 15 years. You see, the Dogon had a calendar that ran out in 1994. So when you're dealing with dates and stuff, that's artificial. That's man-made. It's more of a season and a cycle. It's the same thing what happened here is, it's the same thing that happens when they tell you a baby is due. They can't tell you the time or the actual date. They just estimate. And basically that's what you do. It's just like if a house is burning down, you can't accurately tell me the very precise time that the last flame is going to burn out. You can tell me, when the house is burning, you can say, oh, well, hell, it's over. That's more accurate than to say when is the last flame. So this stuff is happening now. We are the 2012 happening now. But you're just looking for some date. So a lot of lecturers are coming to, the 2012 ain't that. No, we are in it. We are in it.
We're doing it right
We're
now.
doing it. And the reason why I say that because stuff is happening with me daily. And I was telling the brother that I built this temple in my house to all the entities. And as a result, the house is in another dimension. So people will come by. We wake up in the morning, all kind of trash is thrown in front of their house. Now, I didn't know this because a nigga left a TV set out, the old ragged TV set. And I called his ass and he said, I'm sorry, man, I didn't know nobody lived there. But what it was, they're sensing some type of vacancy because the house is in another dimension. So we created another dimension. So they're talking about when the bees disappeared. The motherfuckers in my front yard. The same bees that they're talking about, the honeybees, they're in my front yard. But see, where did they disappear to? They disappeared to another dimension. Well, by my house being in another dimension, you see what I'm saying? That's when they showed up there. So that's the type of stuff we're talking about. Stuff is happening daily. Stuff is happening daily, but we're focusing on the dates. You see what I'm saying? And that's the artificial thing about that. They had something talking about 12/12, 1994. And when 12/12 came, I was a little disappointed because I'm thinking the same thing. In the spirit realm saying, everything went down. Everything that was supposed to go down on 12/12, 1994, it went down. You're just looking for something to happen in your concept of time, but all that stuff is spiritual things. You see. So it all went down, yeah. So the 2012 thing, now everybody focus on that. That's a distraction. Anytime the History Channel, History International Channel start reporting on this shit, it's for distraction. Because the real deal stuff, they don't report on. You see what I'm saying? And shit, they got a movie coming out, Hancock, where the motherfucker go up there and take a whale and throw the whale in the ocean. Will Smith. That's our shit.
Yeah.
It's already happened to me. It's already happened to me and stuff. I mean, I got electrocuted big time. You know how I'm talking about? You know how when you get electrocuted, when the shit stick to you and you can't move? That's the kind of, when you get that kind of shit, you dead. When you get that kind of voltage. And I'm sitting down there going, oh, this is some great shit. Let me see how far it can go. Maybe I can raise some shit up. And I was trying to get it, but then the pain got a little excruciating and I had to push it. But I was trying, but the point I'm trying to make here is,
All I hear is,
I was trying to say because I had this stereo system, this receiver, and I was changing out one of the fuses in the back that blew, but I took the top off of it, but I didn't have on no shirt and I was sweating. So that and I hit the capacitor part where the electricity comes in from the wall and it's a little capacitor where the electricity and then it filters on into the system. My shit got stuck to that.
Shit.
But what had happened was, the reason why I didn't die is because I died in my sleep in the spring of 2001. It's called death in life. So what happens here is, and basically what happens here, you got two heart chakras, you got two hearts. You got a regular heartbeat, and you got one that's a palpitation. Some of you all get it and you get scared. You lay down one night and your shit just be like, oh shit, what's going on? That's the other heartbeat coming from the heart chakra, the scarab realm, of the Egyptian heart. And what that thing does, eventually what it will do, it will cancel out your other heart and you die, and then that heart takes over. That's what happened to me. So when I got electrocuted, it didn't matter, I'm already a dead man. You see, I'm already a dead man. You see, and the reason why I know before it happened, I got a nephew. I think he was like 6, 5 or 6, and he kept saying, "Dead man, Uncle Bobby, dead." He kept calling me dead man, and so my brother was like, "Why you calling him dead man?" He said he's a spirit. He's dead. He said that shit for like 4 months until the thing actually happened in the spring of 2001. In the spring of 2001, you see. But my point is that DNA is changing. The DNA is changing. Remember the DC sniper.
Yeah.
Remember you had the boy from the Caribbean? He was from Jamaica. And the boy, we're going to take a break after this. And the boy, he would feed him something like crackers and honey every day. See, form of mind control is, you got to feed the person the same thing, because if something new come in, it'll change it, and you see.
Yeah.
Like, okay, in America, you go to the Chinese place, you get duck sauce. Duck sauce is made for duck. Most niggas don't even know what a duck is. You want to change up the shit, go eat you some duck. Anybody ever had some duck? See what I'm saying? Most black people, it's a whole nother dimension. You've been chicken. You see what I'm saying? So what happens here is if you eat the same food, you stay in the same dimension.
Get locked down,
and one thing about black people, this is how you know that we are all slaves. One thing we do have is we are scared to try new shit. See what I'm saying? We are scared to try new stuff. It's unfamiliar. I don't know. That's one thing, I don't know about that. And then when we try it, we say, oh, this is good. So if you get a change on some stuff, you can break certain things. So your DNA is already changed. But you got to change. You got to change your thought. You got to change your patterns. You see what I'm saying?
Sorry, Bobby. Right, because you're right in what you said, but is that because within our DNA, within our very spirit, we already know? I don't know.
Yeah, but what is
like with white people, they'll go and do things. Yeah, they'll just go and do something. Yeah, they won't be scared. Whereas with us, as a people, there's a fear thing. Now, I don't know if that's programming going way back, or is that something that's already in us because we know the type of power.
Yeah, it's a combination. Some could be programmed, and some of it can be you being so ancient that you already know. There's a book, there was a book called The Nephilim that came out, but it's a role-playing game. And in that book, they say the Nephilim, which is supposed to be ancient deities, they say, how will you know? They say the jails will be filled up with them. Those will be the Nephilim. And they say, well, why would the jails be filled up with the Nephilim? They say the Nephilim have been on the earth so long until they don't want to conform to the laws because they remember when these laws didn't even exist.
So I didn't know.
You see what I'm saying? So in their DNA, like, I'm not doing this shit. You see what I'm saying? So my point here is that's what I'm trying to say. I don't care. Let me tell you, man, if we had what you had here, if we could get an apartment, if I could get an apartment, and somebody give me some food, and somebody give me a little check, that's some honorable shit. I'd be set. So somebody done train you to say that being on welfare, or what we call welfare, is a disgrace. In a world like this, shit, if you could get something free, are you crazy? If I could fake some ID to say I'm 65, and I can give you some Social Security or some shit like that, I'd be set. You see what I'm saying? But my point is a matter of programming. Now what I'm trying to say here is this, look. The other week, they had a place called Rite Aid, a drugstore. Went out of business. It was Eckers, they built it in 99, and Rite Aid bought it a couple of months ago, about 6 months, and they went out of business. Shit is so happy, they got a tree on the side of the building. And these black men, they were sitting up under the tree, and Rite Aid said, you can't sit under the tree, this is our property. So after Rite Aid went out of business, the black men in their 50s, and most of them in their 50s plus, 50s and 60s, they started sitting back under the tree. These niggas would drive a car from their house to come sit up under a damn tree in a parking lot of a closed down drugstore that they just closed down about 2 weeks ago. Now, That might sound crazy, but that's the same thing they do in Africa. The men sit under a damn tree. You see what I'm saying? So that's some DNA stuff, some genetic memory bank. They just sit under a tree and just chill. And these niggas don't work. Because they're out there all day, you know, they don't work. And I'm saying, you know what? That's the true freedom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's freedom.
No stress.
And I'll tell you another thing. The only reason why you say, well, that's kind of messed up. No, the only reason why you say it's that way because you have been convinced that you need that shit that the white man created in them stores.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That shit, we call it the Goodwill or the Salvation Army. That shit the next year be in the Goodwill. Look, they got a section in Atlanta where Whitney Houston and all these rich white stars and the rich black stars, Babyface and all these people, they live out in they live out in Smyrna, in Alpharetta. So what happens is this here. They got a place called a Goodwill. It's like a thrift store, but it's like the chain of it, Goodwill and Salvation Army. But the Goodwill, they got a Goodwill in the West End area that flanks all of the black colleges. There's 5 black colleges all in a circle. So the Goodwill, they bring in trucks from Smyrna to this Goodwill. And what happens here is, these people buy all these expensive outfits. The next year, the husband or somebody say, you need to get rid of it because it's a tax write-off. So they go and donate this shit to the Goodwill and still have price tags on it. So you might get you might go in there and get a sequence dress that might cost $1,000. You see what I'm saying? Or real expensive shit that might cost $1,000 and stuff. That should be in Goodwill the next year because it's a tax write-off. So what they do is, they ship it in the black community around there because they think that the area where all those black schools and these people have a certain amount of taste. And now all that shit that Whitney Houston and all those people and all those movie stars and all the music stars, man, that should be in the black community the next year with the price tag still on it. And on one thing. So the point I'm trying to make here is, if it's not worth shit the year after, what make it worth shit in the beginning? You remember when Jordache jeans was out there? This was back in the day. They was real hot in the early 80s, the Jordache. They said, well, but they had to knock off Jordache. And they said, well, what make them knock? They said, well, what happens is some people, they got a hole, they dug a hole in the bottom of the plant or somewhere they got a window, and what they do is when the plant closes at night, they sneak back in and make the fake Jordache and put them on the street. Well, wait a minute, they're making them in the same factory. What makes it fake? Because some people, renegade people, is going in, sneaking in at night, cutting on a machine and sewing up some Jordache. They said this shit on the news. What makes the shit fake? So it's a psychological thing. My aunt used to work, when she was in college, she used to work at a mayonnaise factory. And over there, and so she said, and they make this mayonnaise, and then at the end, they put Kraft, Hellman's, this, that, and they might add one or few little variations that Hellman's might want on there, and Kraft might want on there. But it's made in the same factory. And then they make all this shit for the generic brand stuff for the grocery stores. You know, we got Kroger there, we got Publix, and they make it's all made in the same factory. So my point here is that the consumerism is an illusion to keep you on lockdown.
Yeah.
And as a result, you see what I'm saying? We think that we need to be what they call palatable to the marketplace so we can buy shit. That was on 12 Monkeys. If you don't consume, you are the enemy. And black people are the the greatest consumers on the planet. You see, the greatest consumers on the planet. You see what I'm saying? Not the Mexicans. The Mexicans and stuff will pool their money together. They got Mexicans over there now. But if the black people stop spending, America would fall overnight, because they're the ones that buy all the expensive stuff. We can go to a break and we can come back. I will see a little bit. So everybody is expendable. You see what I'm saying? You see, I'm the only one that won't do it, but then again, I know. But then again, on the other hand, I live in the spirit world. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So I know there's something other than that. You see what I'm saying? And so to lose that, then shit shut down spiritually with you, then you be done squandering away to $20 million in a month. You see what I'm saying? Because the spirit world start working against your ass. So it's a certain, they put you out your own alignment. But that's what happened when they rolled on me after 9/11. I mean, you should have saw this shit before Dr. York or nobody. I was in New York. Is the camera on?
Yeah.
Oh, so when I was eating, the camera was on. It don't matter.
No, I put it when you're done.
Okay. When I was in New York, I got caught at 9/11. As a matter of fact, we was down at the World Trade Center the day before taking pictures. And so what happened is this, and it's not like the great Bobby Hemmitt, I'm connected with the terrorists. It's not like that. What they do is when they have a sweep, they say they're going to do some stuff. They'll come in and say, well, find how many subversive figures are in the area. And we'll bring them all in too. Yeah, we'll bring them all in too. Mm-hmm. So what happened is, I did a lecture, as a matter of fact, I did the lecture, Azariah had me up. I did the lecture on 9/10, we went to Montauk, did a ritual up at Montauk with Oshun and Yeminya. And Oshun, Yeminya, I think Oya, the three goddesses. Came back the next day, and the sister Delbert, who was my business partner I was traveling with, she left out of town on 9/10. When she got to the airport, they said, where's Mr. Hemmitt? She's like, I don't know, I got my own damn ticket. What you talking about? So then the next day, I'm sitting there, I'm getting ready to go to the airport, and they're like, you ain't going nowhere, the damn World Trade Center just got hit. And so I said, oh man, let me walk up the street. Let me walk up the street to get a phone call or something at the time. And Spirit said, whatever you do, do not go to that airport. And so I said, damn, I'm stuck up in this damn New York. The trains, everything was locked down. So what happened was, the sister Kimberly, who used to live in Atlanta, she had gone back to nursing school in New York, and she was moving back to Atlanta. She was supposed to leave out on 9/11 and drive down by herself. But her sister said she was worried because she had a car packed up. And I called Kimberly. She was out on Long Island. I said, man. And her sister said, I'm so glad. I said, we can drive back together. So I said, all I got to do is get out of New York. But all the bridges and everything was closed down. They shut the city down. I'm stuck in Brooklyn. I said, damn. And then they said, they announced, they said they're going to have a train leaving for Long Island because they got to have the cadets to go home and get some sleep so they can come back and replace the police. And I rolled out on the train with the cadets and went to Long Island. And they was opening and closing the airport throughout the week trying to catch somebody. So Friday night, they had all the bridges closed. So that Friday night, or that Thursday night, they opened the bridge for a few minutes, and we was riding out, but they were checking the bridge. And then a monsoon came, and we drove right, and the people who was checking the bridge went inside, and we drove right out of New York. We got to D.C., and we took a detour. And we got to Atlanta. When I got to Atlanta, I turned on the TV, they said, possible link to the 9/11 thing in Atlanta. And she looked at me, she said, that's your ass. So the next, and I'm sitting there, I said, what's going on here? She was out there taking pictures and stuff. And so the sister Culinary said, well, I need you to help me move in my new apartment. She said, I said, well, just come on through and I'll get your stuff. We'll get the stuff. So when she got there, we was on the front porch, and it was 50 police cars, 2 in the front seat, 2 in the back seat. On 50 police cars, and the math 50 times 4. See what I'm saying? That's how many cops was available. And the place was lined, the cars was all down the street. And we standing on the front porch. And she said, they're here for you. And I'm like, but they couldn't see me. And I said, I knew I was dealing with the Paulo Manome. And because that was the one I was lined up with. And I was like, I said, them Paulos got that shit blocked. So I'm on the front porch like, I'm Tony Montana. You want to go to war? We go to war. They couldn't even see me. And then they got a little embarrassed and they sped off like they were still looking. And then they tried to hit that. So then they tried to hit it again on December the 19th. That's when Lord of the Rings came out. And they got 2 streets over. They hit the wrong street. Then they just stopped messing with me. And so that's what used to happen with Marie Laveau. When they would go to try to arrest her, they couldn't find the house. They couldn't find the house. I got a sister down there, an Oshun priestess. She got fell on hard times. They came and cut off her electricity and couldn't even find the meter. And it was right in the front of the house. It was right in front of the house. You see what I'm saying? So these things go on a whole nother dimension. You see, it goes in a whole nother dimension. So that's how your shit got to be lined up, on that level. You got to have that type of protection. But You know what it's all based on? The heart chakra, your intent. And it got nothing to do with what you say and what you do. It's based on your sincerity is your credentials. And the only you can be the baddest, whatever, all the magic and anything. If your heart ain't right, that's the only thing with the spirit world on you. That's the difference. That's the difference. So you got ulterior motives. And see, right now, I remember Olo Kuhn, this was back in 95, one of the sayers saying that Olo Kuhn is getting ready to rise. And when it rises, all ulterior motives, you won't be able to hide them. You see, undercurrent thoughts. And that was in 95 that shit was rising. And so now, with the yin and yang cycle, when that thing came up recently, last year, you see what I'm saying?
That's the river goddess.
Yeah, the river, yeah, right. And so, yeah, it's yin and yang, and Olokun is actually two aspects of the same thing. And so, they say once that rises, your undercurrent thoughts. You see what I'm saying? So it's all you being judged based on your heart. You see what I'm saying? So it's a combination between the ego or the heart chakra. And so they say the pure of heart. You see, so basically it's the same thing. I don't have no desires. So if you don't have no desires, you're not controlled by them because you don't have no desires. What happened to you to eliminate all desires? You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
You know, all desires and stuff like that. You know, some shit, my desire might be a fucking ice cream sandwich. Something you had when you was a child. It's been reduced down to that. Then the spirit works on that particular level.